Wu-Tang and how he's done that. And yeah, and you guys have the brief in front of you? Any chance?
No, we don't.
Okay. Okay. So, I mean, did you guys get the breakdown of who Supernova Islam is, like in terms of like his bio? It's okay. I understand. There's a lot going on.
No, it kind of was sprung on us.
Okay. So, all right. Just let it be a conversation about. We can talk about season 2 and just focus on keeping our mental health.
1, 2.
Physical health.
I don't know if you guys can hear me or not. If you can hear me, hit those hearts or whatever and let them keep rising, because I just want to talk to y'all for a little bit and talk to y'all about about really Wu-Tang season 2, of course, but more importantly about mental health. Such a thing that we overlook in our community. Such a thing that we overlook it in our community, and we just overlook it in life. We all been going through this pandemic, and we've been dealing with getting better physically, right? Brothers been working out and bong all this, but what have we been doing for our mental, yo? You know what I mean? Strong body, yeah, but what's going to be a strong body if the mind's not strong? And what's going to be a strong mind if the body's not strong? So in Shaolin, we deal with body and mind, okay? Body and mind. It's all part of building ourselves, our families, and our community. You know what I mean? So I just want to take a little time. You said pandemic. Somebody said pandemic. That's a funny one. I just wanted to say that it was funny. Instead of pandemic, somebody said pandemic. That's funny. So real quick, I want to bring a couple of brothers in here to join me on this. Some cast members from the Wu-Tang series, and we're going to party with them. Just send it. Yeah. I don't really get too much on Instagram Live, as you guys know. You know what I mean? I'm always in my chambers. But I thought that I'll take a moment to do this today, you know what I mean? As we wait for my homie to join us real quick, as we wait for my homies to join us real quick.
What up?
You in the building?
What up? I'm here. Peace, OG. How you doing?
All good. I was waiting for you to join, you know what I mean? So thanks for taking some time out. I don't do a lot of Instagram lives, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But I'm doing this one, you know, with you, and I'm just happy you had time in your day to join me, you know what I mean? As we talk about, you know, mental health, bro, right?
Yeah.
How to strengthen our minds along as we strengthen our body. Feel me? Are we still here? You canceled them. Why you keep doing that, man? You're doing too much here. Did we lose you, Sadiq?
We're not finished.
Oh, here we go.
I don't know what happened. My bad.
You know what? Slice. Yo, I got Slice with me. He did it.
Okay. What up?
Yo, we out, baby. Season 2.
He over here pressing buttons. You know what I mean? I'm like, yo, son, G, let it flow. You know what I mean? First, before we get into our conversation, Sadiq, I just want to know how do you feel, you know, personally? You know, yesterday we launched a new season, man. How you and your family feeling? Did you guys get a chance to check out the work? I know when you work on it, you put your energy into it.
Right.
You know, a lot of people don't know that the talent, you know, when you act, you don't get the chance to see things until the final product, right?
Yeah.
So, you know, I sat down with the audience yesterday and we watched it, and first of all, they cheered when it went off. But I want to know, how do you feel watching the work you brought to life?
Yeah, I mean, I feel I feel blessed. Start by saying that, you know what I'm saying? Like I did get a chance to watch it with my mom and my
Wow.
grandma and my family. You know, that was my celebration. You know, there was some events and stuff that I had missed yesterday, but for me, it's about sharing it with the people that I care about the most, being able to be there and witness it for me because they were there from the beginning. You know what I'm saying? As much as I'm into the new fans and the people who are appreciating the work now. You know, I've been at this for a really long time, and so to be there and share that moment with them was amazing. I do feel really happy with how all the episodes that I've seen so far have come out. It was a lot of work, you know what I'm saying, and there are long hours and pushing past stuff and having to put stuff on pause to give my energy to this project. But getting the couple months that since rap to take a step back, I really feel like I can appreciate this moment in a really positive way, and reflect on, again, like you said, like all the work that I did and we did collectively to get this very powerful piece of art out into the world.
Yeah, the season started off, and then I don't, for those of you who didn't watch it, if you get a chance, you could just go check out Wu-Tang season 2 on Hulu. You're gonna download Hulu or apply or do the 30-day subscription. I don't know what you're gonna do what you
Right,
do
right,
if you don't got it already. But there's parts of Wu-Tang history that's being put into a dramatized form, but it's still so pure in what we've been through. And the episode 1 starts off going back to a dark time, and you play a character, play Ghostface, my brother. I mean, Ghost is, man, Ghost is, and you're playing a part in a moment in his life that was just so scary for us, getting hit, as they call it, getting, took a lick, as they called it, caught one, and you had to, first of all, go through the action sequence of it all, throw homie
Right.
over the table and
Right.
and
And that
go
was
through
me,
all
by
that.
the way. I don't know if he was on set though, but that was me. No, it
I
was like,
know it was you. Remember,
yeah,
I got just for the people to know, the pandemic, caused a lot of different ways of filming and doing things, and it made it more challenging, right? We got to agree to that. But a lot of things that everybody didn't know is that I have this monitor that I could be anywhere around the world and watch y'all.
yeah, I
was
know
like,
about
yo,
Right.
I was the big brother watching. I was calling Mario on the down low.
Right.
You know what I mean? So not that like I was spying. I'm the executive
Yeah, no,
producer.
of
That's
course.
my job.
But you was
bro,
there.
yeah, I was
You was
watching.
present. Yeah.
I was catching so much of y'all doing things. Beyond watching the dailies. But yeah, no, you got a couple of big things this season, bro, where you had a lot of physical challenges,
Mm-hmm.
and you have a lot of mental challenges as well. You know what I mean? You play a guy that becomes a father who's in the midst of dealing with all of this crime and drug dealing and dreams. And for people out there who have to take a moment to go through their first time of being a father
Right.
and dealing with the pressures of life, and I know you acted this out, but could you give them some type of advice of how to face that, the mental challenge of that?
Mm-hmm. So, like as you said, like I personally am not a father yet. That is something that I want for myself, and I see for myself later on down the line. But I think in portraying this character, in doing this role for this season, I realized, I guess some advice that I can talk to is, priorities. I feel like in this season, Dennis's priorities started to shift a little bit. I think leveling out and weighing out the risks, like the risk factor in everything, is important. And especially, I imagine that's really important when you become a parent. What is the risk of this? Not just for yourself, but now you have this other life that you have to kind of look after, that you have to look after, that you are, you know, you are supposed to look after and help grow and mature and be successful and thrive within this life, and also be protected and to protect them. So I think, yeah, risk factor, like really weighing out what's important. Because season 1, you know, Dennis was hot, everything, you know, and a lot of the fans be talking about that. Yo, you was angry all the time. You was always, ready to pop off. And I really wanted to, you know, set that tone. But I think for this season, you know, audiences will be able to see a more toned down, refined version. Like the passion and the fire and all of that is still going to be there, you know, even after the kid. But it's also like, what is the risk of this all? Like, will this put me, you know, will I get locked up? Could I potentially get killed? Could I, you know, is this going to mess up the family? You know, are people going to know where the baby's at? You know, like kind of taking all of those things kind of into account really starts to, you know, help you figure out what's important. I think when you have a kid, you have to think about what's important, or I imagine, you know.
Yeah, and I can add on to that, you know, mental challenges are just as deep as physical challenges. You know, picking up physical weight is one thing, picking up mental weight is another thing. You know, so in being a father, you know, you're dealing with physical, mental, and spiritual, you know, and it's something that, you know, we should actually have, you know, in schools and things of that nature, classes to prepare us for that, man. A lot of us become fathers while we're still children, while we haven't figured ourselves out. Then we got another life to worry about. A lot of us, you know, become fathers and we're not mentally prepared to face the challenges, the sacrifice, the time that we have to put in. A lot of us become fathers, and because we weren't prepared, our children become young fathers or become people that end up trapped up in a world where they end up incarcerated, end up in the pine box and things of that nature. And not just only because of fate and because of the tough things of life that we can never, you know, we can't control and predict, but some things it's just because we weren't prepared and we weren't mentally fortified to face the challenge of what we have to live through. And I think that's a big flaw for us not to be in tune or not to include in our educational system, that type of thing. Because I know they say you should know that, learn it at home, get it from your own family. But no, a child spends more time outside the house than inside the house in our society, in public society. We got to go to school. That's 6-7 hours a day, plus the commute. So that's almost 1/3 of the day being sent your child away from you to learn. And that 1/3 of that time should include at least an hour, you know, of home training, home economics, or fatherhood and motherhood training. I think that's so important, and mental health.
Supernova Slime wants to join us.
You gotta do what you gotta do. Yeah, we're live, so we actually lost him again. Hit that again. Hit the hula always first. Okay.
Case.
What was it?
Supernova Slime.
Okay.
You
See
see
it?
it? Yes, sir. Boom.
Are we still in the building? Did I lose? I lost a D.
Peace to the gods.
Oh,
Peace,
okay. I got you
peace.
back. There we go. What up, Supernova?
Hey, big homie, peace, family. Peace to the God.
Peace,
brother.
Peace. Nice to meet you, brother.
Hey, man. Hey, I tuned in last night. Incredible. I'm loving it.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank
Great
you
job
so
to
much.
the family.
Thank you.
I was just talking. Hey, Sadiq, I talked all the way through. I guess you dropped out, and I was just
Yeah, I dropped out, but I heard the rest of what you were saying.
yeah, kept rocking the mic like yo, the beat
Yeah,
kept
yeah.
going, right? But now I do think we're talking about mental health, mental preparation. Right now we're talking about how it is when it comes to fatherhood, and how in our school system where we spend, like I said, 8 hours away from home, and we don't teach about home. I actually remember when I was in high school, we had home economic class. You know what I mean? Where least they try to teach you how to make a cookie or something. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
But those programs are gone. Music programs are being removed, and it's almost like we are raising our children. Of course, math, science, and history is important, but we're not including the things that they're really going to have to face every day in life, and we're definitely not doing nothing for mental health. It's mostly physical health and you know, and how to be a capitalist type of thing. And not knocking it, because you know that's what we do, but I just wish we could include some things that help the mind early as it's developing. You know, what do you think, Supernova? What if you had a chance to speak to the school board and give them some wisdom? What would you give them?
Well, I echo everything you're saying, big homie. Let's talk about holistic wellness. Holistic wellness is the harmony between the functionality of your mind, body, and spirit, working in tandem for your highest self, right? So anything you do physical, right, is powered by your mind power. Your mind power is powered by your spiritual power, your overall power. So all those things working in tandem for you to show up as your better signal self. And so you opened up the bill, RZA, earlier, big homie, about what y'all doing, Shaolin, about the mind power aligning with the body. Like there's no separation between church and state. And I think if more of our people, especially the brothers, the men, because every time you look on the algorithm, women are doing some type of healing and pouring into themselves. And you see a woman doing the retreat, in the healing retreat, right? We need men to take on the emergency of pouring into themselves. Like it's time that our brothers understand that to really be their God self, their God mind, they must do the daily work, body, mind, and spirit, so they can show up more effective. And then the seeds they produce will be an extension of the work they put in themselves. You know, a lot of us men, we make excuses because with the power word of is provider, right? So we show up to be providers, which is great. That's a power word. But we must provide time and space as fathers moving further through time to work on ourselves first, so we can better show up for our women, our work in the world, and in our seeds, you know? And that's what I would really want to echo, big homie, to the young people is take the time to pour into yourself to be the best version of yourself, you know, and to unify your mind, body, and spirit in a way that you can nourish yourself on a daily basis. As my wife would say, vibrate higher daily. Right.
You know, you said provide, you know, men are the providers. I guess the thing we overlook is that we think that providing just food, clothing, and shelter is enough. You know, I grew up learning the mathematics, and we have this thing called the 12 jewels, right? Spelled Jewel. I know I talk funny. I used to say 12 jewels. People thought I was about 12 Jews, like Jews. I said, no.
The jewels, right.
Jewels. Let me say it right. But the jewels are knowledge, wisdom, understanding, freedom, justice, equality, food, clothing, shelter, love, peace, happiness. All of that must be provided.
All of that,
absolutely. To the family, you know what I mean, and to self. And I think that's something we overlook. So we thinking, you know, I you know, some of us got baby mothers. Like, I gave her some money. I mean, I got her a whip. I paid the rent, and it's just that. No, that's just 120. That's only 25% of the 12 jewels. Food, clothing, and shelter. Where's that love at?
Where's that love at? Yeah.
Me and my father was talking, and Sadiq, I had the blessing to bring my father with me to the premiere party last night as well. And he had a chance to watch it. And he actually met Brian Grazer, which was crazy. Yeah. But the beautiful thing is he missed that part of my life. He didn't know, you know, that I got locked up. I actually was arrested 19 times, bro. And I don't like to talk about that, but man, the weekend warrior. I was always, you know, up in some spot, Long Island, Brooklyn House, Staten Island, whatever, man. It's just, I was just zoned out, you know what I mean? And then I, you know, went down to Ohio and I continued this negative path, you feel me? And my father wasn't present, and so he didn't see all that. And he's like, man, I didn't know you. I said, man, that's only half of it. But we had a chance to, you know, to talk. We talked till 4 a.m. last night because of this energy. And we talked about how his generation, they didn't even say I love you to their children. You know, it was hard for a man to be like, I love you, son, come here, I love you. It's like, and in my generation, I know my family, me and my sons, my brother Divine and my brother King, and all of us, we are quick to tell our children we love them, man. We're quick to verbalize that, because without love, you won't never get to peace. And peace is the absence of confusion. And how many people are not at peace with themselves because they're confused, because they're missing some of these jewels? And what's love and peace without happiness?
Come on.
And happiness is not so external, because happiness is total, complete satisfaction with yourself. But how are you going to be completely happy if you got so many things that's missing from yourself? Your knowledge, your wisdom, your understanding, the true meaning of freedom, justice, and equality. And even for some of us, as we show in the TV series, some of us are doing everything we're doing, especially your character, Sadiq. He's doing it for food, clothing, and shelter. You know what I mean? He's ready to bust that gun for it.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's you know, the beautiful thing I do like about what we do as artists, and especially with the show, you know, just saying this as an older man, you know, that to look back and watch you reenact these things and watch Aston reenact, we're actually giving a map for young people. And I think that's a big blessing. You know, in our show, you get a chance to see the conflict of young black men, right? And many people go through it. Black, white, yellow, brown, don't matter. In every country, there's young people that got to go through something. You feel me? And our show kind of lets you get a glimpse of what these young guys are going through and how they're going to try to figure out their relationship with each other, their relationship with their girl, with their children, all these things.
Right.
So let me hit you with another question, because we dropped 3 episodes on the series, right?
Right.
And I just want to know how you know, because you did such a beautiful job, and everybody wrote about it from the first season. You know, your character is playing the big brother to 2 young men in a wheelchair who are bounded there. So therefore, physically, they're stuck, right? And you know, episode 3, your character actually, you know, returns home, and you know, your brother has preserved your rhyme book. I just wanted to say, actually, just as a man and playing the role of that, you know, where do you pull from spiritually to have the audience, you know, feel your love for your brothers? You know, when you was wiping his mouth and shit, that wasn't written in the script.
Right. I mean,
You know,
I think for me, it's always been about honoring that love that you feel. You know, I know that I have a lot of power within me because of the love that I carry, because that is transparent. You know, like, I don't feel like it's a weakness that I can be, you know, a little more vulnerable or a little bit more soft with my family. I don't have to keep the burden that society has put on us as black men. I don't have to wear that all the time. You know, there's sometimes where it works to my benefit, but there's sometimes where it works to my detriment. And I feel like that's just the truth. You know what I'm saying? So I think for me, those moments that everybody loves, it just comes naturally. I think, you know, these are my brothers that, you know, yeah, they may be, you know, have this thing that they're up against physically, but mentally they're so bright. I mean, all the lines that's written for Darius, all the quick comebacks, he's more tuned in to what's going on than I am at some points. You know what I'm saying? And I think that that's really, really powerful. So, you know, shout outs to Sam and Amir, you know, who both play my brothers. We just also created a bond offset. But I think it goes beyond set. I think it goes beyond the show. I think it's just, you know, like I said, people look at certain people. You know, you may look at them and go, oh, they're in a wheelchair, they don't know nothing. But that's not the truth. Somebody that has all their limbs, that has all, you know, full access to their body, but are still not using it the right way. You know, so they got a block as well. Or somebody may have, you know, can be the fittest person alive, but they got a mental block or a spiritual block, like Absolutely. As you were saying, you know, Supernova. So it's like, yeah, I think that those moments are really important. And I think that those moments are also part of the reason why, you know, I ended up being the person to portray Ghost, you know, because in a lot of ways the baseline about our life those are the things that run parallel. But there's certain things, like I wasn't out, you know, hustling on the streets, and there's certain things that I do on the show that I've never done in real life. But part of me being an actor is, you know, taking from my own, you know, personal experiences and also incorporating that imagination, which I think is the biggest tool that we have as artists and as people, is the ability to imagine yourself somewhere else. Like all the stuff that I'm doing right now are things that I've been talking about since I was younger. You know what I'm saying? Like all the things that I've been able to accomplish at my very young, humble 25 years of life, I've been talking about this from the beginning, and not in a way that it was attached to ego or to anything, just in a way that I knew that, like, as long as I kept my faith and I worked really hard, I could speak whatever I wanted to speak because I was going to do it. And I did, you know, and I think that
you envision internal first, then manifested it. You know,
Come on.
We was talking to, I had a chance to talk to Sam, because Sam plays your older brother in the wheelchair, right?
Yes.
And he, you know, when we first hired him, he actually was hired to do the non-speaking brother.
I know. I was just talking to my family about this. I was just talking to them about this.
What's crazy is that when I met him, you know, he always wanted to be an actor, but he was bounded to this wheelchair. But his mother and father was like, he always wanted to be an actor. Like he always wanted it. And the chance of it happening, because he's he's not acting like that. He's physically bound in that chair. You know what I mean? And that's it. Everything about him is pure. It's him. But he always wanted to be an actor. And when I looked at him, and his mother and father said that to me, and they had this child rule where at a certain age you couldn't keep the child that much time on set. And he had just was 1 year over that age. Right? And so, and he also just had this aura. And I was like, I'm going to switch it. I'm going to let you be the voice of this character. And I told the other brother, we're going to switch you guys up. And this was like the episode 1. I
remember it was low key like my first, I think it might have been the first day on set, or like the second day, because that was when we did that shootout scene. Yeah. And I remember we was cutting it close, and it was the time, and you was there, and Chris was there, and you know, and we hadn't gotten to their coverage yet. And then I remember the switch happening, and honestly, what I told my family, this is something that I'll say here too, is I think that it was meant to happen that way. Yeah. You know, it's a blessing because of, you know, Amir, you know, will have opportunities to play different characters where he's not bound to the wheelchair. But the fact that Sam could speak his, you know, truth and be a representative of a subsidiary of his community is I think a very, very powerful and beautiful thing. And now he's a fan favorite. Everybody's, you know, talk about
me last night, like me just not being with y'all out with it. I saw him with you and I was like, yo, his glow. He has a glow about him, and he articulates himself in such a great way. Even Amir's quietness still radiates. It's interesting, like the fact that you said, no, Amir, you're gonna be the quiet one. He had a different cadence on the camera. You know, it was interesting how they worked together. And then that brother, I said, man, his glow, something about his glow. So that's dope how that came together. Yeah.
But let me ask you, Supernova, like how, you know, because in both of these cases, with Sadiq and with Sam, they are envisioning this is something he wanted before he got it. How important it is for us to use our minds and our mental strength before we use our physical strength.
Yes.
Could you share that?
Let's talk. Well, where is a mindfulness comes to play. Mindfulness, right? And so you talked earlier about the 12 tenets, you know, the nation of gods and nerds, right? And when I've always heard the God bodies build on those tenets, I will always say, imagine if those brothers and sisters truly showed and proved that daily, like really just in their action, like so in their mental meditation. Like the principle of knowledge, wisdom, understanding, they actually really set with the signal of that. And they send and do their breath and do their meditation. They send that signal of knowledge, wisdom, understanding through their body, through their bloodstream, to their heart, through the up and down their chakra, and actually envisioning the word power strengthening them, and then physically taking action steps in representation of the sacred word. So before, it's like they say, what comes first, before the chicken or the egg? I would say the thought, right? The mindfulness. Another powerful tenet of mindfulness, brothers, is gratitude. Being grateful on a daily basis. There's things that we're wanting to aspire towards manifesting, like you did, brother. But I guarantee, and RZA, and how you with the Wu-Tang, there was a certain level of knowing yourself and gratitude you had, so you could continue to move forward. It was almost like the gratitude was your spiritual covering. It was like your mental armor, right? Because some people who are not gracious, and even in their thought, they leave themselves open to attack. There's always a scene in the martial arts films that I love. It's the guy, he has the hat, he's in the back drinking his tea, right? Minding his business. And the guy comes in, hey, you, what are you doing over here? Hey, I'm just having some tea, minding my business. Hey, you shouldn't be here. Hey, guys, I just want to have my tea. Buddha bless you, right? The thugs keep chastising him. What does he do? He drinks his tea, he stops, he gives them a warning, so his mind put the signal out, right? He gave a mental warning. Hey, I do not want trouble. So he used the mental word power to put a shield. The antagonist pierced through the shield with disrespect. Now his mind aligned with his physical body, and he did his kata, right? He took them all out. What did he do? All the films. He goes back to drinking his tea, and he says, Buddha bless you.
Right.
So that's gracious. That's like he actually put the mental energy out there, warned them not to come, defended his spiritual space, his physical space, then went back into his gratitude. So I think mindfulness, also detachment, that's a tenet of mindfulness too. My mother called it divine attachment. Looking at things objectively. Sometimes we're so subjective to things happening to us, we can't really observe it. But when you can take a mental break and kind of relax yourself and allow your mind to respond at ease and observe, you can look at things and you can move. Your mind power can move accordingly to your observation. But we want to practice mindful, masterful observation. You know what I'm saying? Master listening, mindful listening. These tenets allow us to be sharpened, and it's the tenets that I know that you were training with the Sifu the other day in the martial arts temple, right?
Yeah.
And I know that you trained with our Sifu RZA. I trained with him like 20 years ago. I went through there, and he is the example of that. Mindfulness. When I think about the Sifu, his auric field, you can feel it. And then when he takes you through the kata, he's already preparing your mind to move through the kata. Right. So that's what I would say, family, the mindfulness.
And I would add, not add, but go back a step. When you talk about, when we talk about the mathematics that, the gods and earths were taught and had to memorize and all that, I honestly would say that I did that process. It was daily for me.
Yeah.
Mathematics actually became a pattern of action, right? So the first mathematics, I'm gonna go through all of them. I'm just go through the first 5. The first mathematic is knowledge, right? And it says knowledge is to look, listen, and observe, and respect. It says knowledge is the basic foundation of all things, like the sun is a foundation to the solar system. Okay, so that means the first thing that you do, number 1, is you do the knowledge.
Do the knowledge.
You look, you listen, and you observe. Looking is different than observing. But then you respect. Okay, you have to respect. You don't do nothing else. And then the second lesson was wisdom. And it says wisdom is the manifestation of your knowledge.
Woo, come on.
After what you looked at, you saw, you observed, and you respected, now you can manifest it. And look at the word manifest. Manifest meaning speak. Action is action. Now you put into action what you did the knowledge to.
Come on.
Right. And then the third step is understanding. It says understanding is the best part. It's to see things clearly. It's a mental picture that was formed in your mind from your knowledge and wisdom. and it's symbolic to like a child. So knowledge will be a man, wisdom will be your woman, and the birth of those two coming together will give you your understanding, which is that child, which is now not only do you know and you speak, but others know and understand now because they heard you do it.
They heard,
That's
right.
understanding. And then
Right.
I'll do 5. I do the last one. The 4th one is culture, right? And culture, it says, is a way of life. And so you can't get to your way of life till you know and understand. You know yourself.
Right.
You did the knowledge. You did the wisdom. You did the understanding. Now you can live it out.
Come on.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
So,
As you always say,
Well,
show and prove.
honestly,
Prove.
so that I told this story on Good Morning America, and I also told it to you, but I kind of want to tell it again as far as, because I feel like it ties into this conversation. So I was working my side job, you know, before I got this role at this tea shop that I was working at in LA. This is how I was making my money at the time. And they had artists on display each month. But this month, when I was getting my callbacks, when I met you, when I had my first, you know, test with you after 3 rounds, I want to say, of auditioning, I went through a lot of rounds, you know what I'm saying? So by this point, you know, there was a picture and an artist did a painting of you, RZA, right? And so it was right there in front of the register. And I remember there was one day where I had already been feeling like I was gonna get the role, but I wasn't sure, but I felt it, but I didn't want to act too soon. But there was one day where I was sweeping in the store and I looked at the painting, and the painting looked like it was like you were looking at me, making eye contact with me. But I was confused because I had did the same thing the other day, and I was at the back of the store and it felt like you were looking at me. So I'm sweeping, I look up, I'm like, that's crazy. I run to the other side of the store, still looking, that's crazy. I quit my job a couple days after that. Y'all hadn't even given me the role yet. But like you said, there's an observation that has to be had. I took that. I knew that was God. I knew that was a sign. I knew that I knew that I needed to make space in my life for a bigger blessing. I had trust in myself enough to know that I didn't move all the way to Los Angeles to work any side job. I moved there to become an actor and to be a series regular on a television show. And I just observed what was around me. So I absolutely agree that a lot of the times people, like, you really have to observe, because everything that you need in order to kind of manifest whatever idea drops in within you, you normally have all the resources. It's just a matter of like getting in tune with them and seeing how they start to work, and also you putting in the work for them all to work. And I think that's what I did then, and that's what I like to do now, and that's what anybody listening to the live right now, I would just say it's just really important, like you said, to take time to listen. You know, like sometimes if I'm in the house and it's just too much and I'm being stimulated and I'm doing, too much Instagram or too much TV, I'll like delete it off my phone, maybe go for a walk, just move my body, just kind of leave myself open to some sort of inspiration, because I feel like that is so important. That's what I pray for. I pray to inspire people and to be inspired every day, even whether it's small or a large inspiration, like even if it's just something real small, like, wear this.
But Sadiq, you said something so important that I want to just repeat again. You said that you gave yourself space for the blessing. You had to let the job go, get that out of my life, because that's taking up space. You can't hang up nothing else in the closet until you take something out sometimes. It's full. And I think that's so important, especially in the younger phases of life, right? Any phase is important, right? But, when you get successful sometime, whatever, you could pull you could have a few drops and still survive. But when you're starting in life, you better be conscious of what's occupying your space. And you go back to that space, and I know you could relate to this, Supernova, that's your mental space, your physical space, and your spiritual space. You better realize which of these closets need some sweeping out.
Yeah.
Would you agree, Supernova?
Oh, I'm just gonna bless the space, right? You brothers are on. I'm grateful to be here. Check this out. I did a live a little while ago, family, and I talked about preparing for each season. Like each season has its vibrational cadence, right? And if you're not ready to receive the new season, it can overwhelm you, right?
Mm-hmm.
Mentally. That's why people have a lot of breakdowns. They have emotional, triggers during the change of the season. So what RZA just said about sweeping. Remember the martial art film with Jaden Smith when the Sifu told him to sweep?
Yeah.
Right.
The whole time he was sweeping, he didn't mentally connect that this was learning his katas. But so he was doing two actions. He was clearing space. It was a meditation. He was mastering the space that he was clearing, and he was getting strong and learning his katas. So there was multiple things happening through that one discipline of space. So facilitation is a power word. Facilitation. What am I facilitating, right? You have to let go in order to grow and in order to glow, right? You can't glow up if you're not growing up, right? So you got to be able to, you have to begin to move stuff out the way and so that you can have a new space to actually facilitate, and that's also, mental too. We talked about mindfulness, and a lot of brothers and sisters are dealing with depression and triggering from just being inside during the pandemic. RZA earlier spoke about using your mind not only just as a body action, but a holistic action, right? So in your space, to everybody that's tuning into us today, look around, observe your home. If there's anything out of alignment that no longer serves you, let it go. You may not throw it away. You may donate. Like it's some shoes. There's some shoes I had the other day. I said, I look, brothers, they look fly, right? But I said, I ain't wearing none of these shoes in like 8 months. It's time that I give a gift. So I got all those shoes together and I gave them away. And I felt so much clearer. I felt lighter. Just the action of removing those shoes and giving. So I did two things. I gave a gift to someone, and my space was clearer. So just to those points.
Yeah. And it's really important. Like for me, I think about when I was in college, I had studied abroad in London, but I had left all of my stuff in Pittsburgh, which is where I went to school. And I'm talking my mattress, my bed frame. At that time I had like maybe 15 pairs of sneakers, Jordan. Like I was a sneakerhead, so I brought all my sneakers to school, left them there, clothes, my journals from freshman year, like my acting journals, all of this stuff, with monetary value as well as just like value, personal value. And I came back from studying abroad and it was all gone because I had left it in the basement and they did some sort of construction, and I was in London for 3 months. So all my shit was gone. I lost $7K worth of stuff. And mind you, this was before I was on TV. I didn't have, that was a big loss. I felt that one. But I'm so happy that happened because I feel like from a very early age, like at that time, and especially in that mindset where that type of stuff is super important, I learned that it's not, and it's not about a privilege thing or another, things have value because we give them value. And money to me is, yes, it's important to save and build and all of that stuff, but you kind of got to let it flow and you kind of got to trust that it's going to come and go. Cause at the end of the day, I believe like it's an energy thing. Cause we can't take it with us when we pass on. So it's kind of like,
it's called currency, right? And currency means the flow of energy. So it has to flow. Somebody asked what's today's mathematics. I'm gonna build on today's mathematics, and then I'm gonna let y'all brothers get back to y'all day. Today's mathematics is born, and born means to bring into existence. It's the number 9 is born to bring into existence, and you have to be born mentally, as Jesus said. He said. The brother Nicodemus has asked him a question: how should I enter the kingdom of God? And Jesus said, you have to be born again. He said, how can I be born again? Must I enter back into my mother's womb? And Jesus said, no, with his flesh is flesh, with his spirit is spirit. But you have to be born mentally, physically, and spiritually, right?
Yes.
And those ideas of being born have to be brought into existence. And there's a gestation period for that. You know what I mean? And that gestation period is still tied into our space we're talking about. It's just like, in order for you to bring the next thing into existence, you have to clear some space clear some space for it to manifest itself,
Yeah,
to be brought
absolutely.
into existence. So for everyone out there who's listening, you know, may you be able to born something beautiful into your reality. You know what I mean? I want to thank you, Supernova, Sadiq, brothers, for joining me today. I don't do Instagram Live a lot, but it was a chance for us to share our knowledge and wisdom with the audience out there, and I'm glad that we did this, brothers. I look forward to breaking bread with y'all in the near future.
Thank you, brother. Appreciate you, Sadiq. Thank you, big homie. Appreciate y'all. Well, salute.
Appreciate it. Peace.
Peace.